The air crackled with anxious anticipation. The stench of sweat, stale beer, and something more sinister hung heavy. This wasn't your daddy's pro wrestling. This was an appearance by cult fiction, a blood-soaked spectacle of violence, mayhem, and believability. Born in the sweatboxes and smoky bingo halls of Texas and Philadelphia, they weren't here to play by the rules. They were here to break them, to shock you, to make you question everything you thought you knew about professional wrestling. Leading the cult is HalfBreed Billy Graham, the legend keeper, a charismatic grindhouse shaman with a glint of both wisdom and madness in his eyes. Charles Manson was his friend. Graham led the cult to war with convincing dark sermons delivered with venom and fire. He spoke of betrayal, retribution, salvation, and damnation. Masada, the ultra-violent beast, a Texan warrior respected across the globe, a master's skill set, moving with the ferocity of a tiger, his eyes promising unholy retribution for any who cross him or his brothers. Lucky 13, the high flyer, a wild card with a penchant for the bizarre, brought an unpredictable chaos, dependable talents, and extreme loyalty to the family. Brain Damage, the ultra-violent Terminator, a monster, a brawler with a vicious knockout punch who seemed almost impervious to pain, a deathmatch destroyer. No one was more loyal to the cult. Then there was J.C. Bailey, experienced beyond his years, a hybrid wrestler defying gravity and sanity in equal measures. He was the heart of cult fiction. Others who wore the CF colors include Toby Klein, Deranged, Homeless Jimmy, Tank, Freak Show, Tracy Smothers, and Ox Baker. These were not just any wrestlers, they were the real deal, and they were outlaws. The ring ropes, often replaced with barbed wire or interwoven with glass, became instruments of torture. Matches weren't won, they were survived. Blood flowed profusely, a crimson testament to the brutality on display. Broken tables, shattered light tubes, and the anguished cries of the combatants painted a disturbing masterpiece of violence. Cult fiction pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable, their matches a grotesque ballet of storytelling, pain, and punishment. To watch cult fiction was to witness the limits of human endurance. It was a test of will, a celebration of suffering, a descent into the darkest corners of the human psyche. An assault on the senses, the cult fiction experience. The atmosphere at a cult fiction show was unlike anything else in professional wrestling. The roar of motorcycles announced their arrival, a pack of leather-clad riders bringing chaos in their wake. The air was thick with cigarette and weed smoke, the scent of spilled beer, and the metallic tang of blood. Tattooed and pierced young women in bikinis paraded around the ring, their beauty a stark contrast to the carnage unfolding before them. Police sirens wailed in the distance, a constant reminder that this was a world on the edge, a world teetering on the brink of anarchy. It was a sensory overload, a carnival of the damned, a celebration of everything rebellious and taboo. Chainsaws, Texas and the living dead, the cult's influences and inspirations. Their roots ran deep into the blood-soaked soil of Texas. Their influences a trippy cocktail of counterculture, native magic, nonconformity, and psychedelia. Heavy metal, sex, drugs, and violence. The spirit of Tobe Hooper and the macabre visions of George Romero shadowed their every move. They were the bastard children of 1,000 B movies, their lives a never-ending drive-in thrill-kill-double feature. Cult fiction embraced the grotesque, the bizarre, the downright disturbing. They were a middle finger to the sanitized world of mainstream pro wrestling, a reminder that behind the glitz and glamour lies a primal darkness. Cult status for cult fiction, unsung champions of the underground. Their brand of extreme violence wasn't for everyone, but for those who dared to look into the abyss, cult fiction offered a glimpse into a world unconstrained by convention. They became champions of the underground, their names whispered in hushed tones by those seeking something more, something real, something dangerous. Their championship reigns were testaments to their brutality, their victories carved in blood and scar tissue. They proved that sometimes the most captivating stories are told with words that can be believed, backed up with broken bones and unyielding spirits. A legacy etched in blood and barbed wire, cult fiction may have faded into the annals of wrestling history, but their impact is undeniable. It's also undeniable that the mainstream world of pro wrestling has tried multiple times to copy and sanitize the cult fiction formula. They helped redefine what was possible within the squared circle, pushing the boundaries of violence and theatricality. Their legacy lives on in the scars they left on their opponents and the indelible mark they made on the world of professional wrestling. The legend of cult fiction will never be forgotten. Because cult fiction isn't for life. It's to the death, it's to the death, death, death.